The first question. Lao Tzu is said to have said, knowing the not knowing, that is high. Not knowing the knowing, that is an illness. The one who suffers from this illness is not ill. The wise is not ill, because he suffers from this illness. That's why he is not ill. Lao Tzu is one of those few masters who have tried to say the truth as accurately as it is humanly possible. He has made tremendous effort to bring the inexpressible to the world of expression, to bring the wordless experience within the confinement of small words. The words we know are mundane. They are meant for ordinary, day-to-day use. And the experience that happens in absolute silence is absolutely beyond them. But still it has to be expressed. If not expressed, at least hinted at. Lao Tzu's words are fingers pointing to the moon. Don't cling to the fingers. Forget the fingers and look at the moon, and great insight will descend upon you. There is no other scripture like Tao Te Ching, for the simple reason that each single word in it is immensely pregnant, not only with the unknown, but also with the unknowable. Words have been used only as indicators, milestones, showing the way, telling you to go ahead, not to stop there. These words are very significant, but at the first reading they will look very puzzling, confusing, paradoxical, contradictory. Unless you have tasted something of meditation, that taste makes everything clear. Meditation is like eyes. When you talk to a man who has eyes about light, he immediately understands what you mean. When you talk to the blind man about light, he hears the word, but listens nothing, understands nothing. His ears are perfect. The word reaches to him, but empty, with no content. The content has always to be put by your experience. These words are not ordinary words. Unless you come with great meditation to them, it is impossible to figure out what is what. If you come with meditation, then things cannot be more simple than Lao Tzu's words are. He says, knowing the not knowing, that is high. The highest point is that nothing can be known, that everything is unknowable. Mind you, not only unknown, but unknowable. And a distinction has to be made between the unknown and the unknowable. These three words have to be pondered over. The first is the known. That which is known today was unknown yesterday. That which is unknown today may become known tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Hence, the difference between the known and the unknown is not a difference that makes any difference. It is only a question of time. There is no qualitative difference between the two. But the unknowable is qualitatively different. The unknowable is that which has never been known and will never be known. Unknowability is its intrinsic nature. This is the profoundest truth, that life in its totality, in its organic wholeness, is absolutely a mystery. It is not a problem that can be solved. It is not a question that can be answered. No amount of knowledge is going to demystify it. It will remain mysterious. Mysteriousness is not something accidental to it. You cannot take it away from it. It is its very soul. And whatsoever we know is just superficial, very superficial. Whatsoever we know is only befooling ourselves. D.H. Lawrence, one of the mystic poets of this age, a man I love and respect very much, was walking in a garden with a small child, and the child asked him, and only a child can ask such a tremendously significant question. The knowledgeable people always ask foolish questions because they ask out of their knowledge. In fact, they have already got the answer, and they are asking just to see whether you have also got the answer or not. They are searching for an argument to prove their knowledge. Their question is not authentic, is not true. Any question arising out of your knowledge is pseudo. But when small children ask something, they mean it. It is not out of knowledge, it is out of innocence, out of a state of not knowing. Whenever there is a question, out of not knowing, it has immense beauty, splendor. The child asked D.H. Lawrence, "Can you tell me one thing? Why the trees are green? Why not red? Why not blue? Why not black? Why not this? Why not that? Why they are green and always green? A man of knowledge would have answered very easily. He would have told the child the chemistry of the trees, the biology of the trees. He may have told the child about chlorophyll. Why the trees are green? It is because of the presence of chlorophyll. But D.H. Lawrence remained silent, closed his eyes. The child was puzzled. Such a great man, world famous, author of many books, cannot answer such a small question. He nudged him and said, "Why you have closed your eyes? Either you know or you don't know. What you are doing with closed eyes? If you know, say it. If you don't know, say it." D.H. Lawrence said, "The trees are green because they are green." And the child said, "That's right." He was absolutely satisfied, contented. He said, "That's right. Trees are green because they are green." But only a child can ask such a question, and only a child can receive such an answer. What Lawrence is saying is exactly what Lao Tzu is saying. To say trees are green because they are green is to accept the ultimate mystery that nothing can be said. It is so. That was Buddha's way of answering. His word was Tathata. Tathata can be translated approximately as suchness. 1,001 times he has been asked, "Why there is death?" And he will say, "Tathata, such is the nature of things." It is not an answer, remember. What kind of answer is this? Such is the nature of things. That the water flows downwards and the fire rises upwards. Such is the nature of things. In fact, the word Dhamma used by Buddha, which is ordinarily translated as religion, means exactly suchness of things, the Dhamma of things. Es Dhammo Sanantano. Such is the ultimate nature of things. Nothing more can be said about it. That which is born will have to die. The young will become old. The child will become young. The beautiful will become ugly. The healthy will become ill. Such is the nature of things. But this is not an answer, remember. And Buddha insisted again and again that I am not answering your questions. I am only making your questions clear to you. This is the difference between a philosopher and a mystic. The philosopher tries to answer your questions. The mystic simply helps you to understand your questions. Whenever Buddha used to go to a new place, his disciples will go ahead and declare to the people that please don't ask these 11 questions, because that will be sheer wastage of time. Because all that he is going to say is, such is the nature of things. So we can say it to you about these 11 questions. This is his answer. Such is the nature of things. Don't ask these questions. Buddha is not a philosopher. neither Lao Tzu is. In fact, no one who has known is a philosopher. Philosophers are blind people thinking about light. You must have heard the ancient Panchtantra story. 5 blind men went to see an elephant. They were not 5 blind men. They were 5 philosophers. But all philosophers are blind. That story has 2 meanings. One for the small children, then it is 5 blind people, and one for those who are a little more mature. Then it means 5 philosophers. Those 5 blind persons touched the elephant from different sides. Somebody touched his feet and declared that the elephant is like a pillar, and so on and so forth. They all described the elephant according to their very limited, partial observation, and they started quarreling, arguing. Great argument arose. The whole village gathered, and they were very argumentative people. They quoted scriptures. They tried to prove that what they were saying is right. They were philosophers, theologians, scholars. Of course, there could not have been any conclusion. Philosophers have never come to any conclusion. They cannot, because conclusion is possible only through experience, and the experience has to be total, absolute, categorical. The first experience of the mystic is that existence is not a problem but a mystery. It is unknowable. Not only unknown. Science divides existence in 2 categories, the known and the unknown. Hence, science assumes that a day is bound to come when the whole unknown will be transformed into the known. That will be the end of all inquiry. But religion believes in 3 categories. The known, the unknown, that belongs to the lower world of knowledge, and the unknowable, that belongs to the higher world of knowledge. That higher will always remain the same. It will be always there to inquire, to go into, to merge with it, to melt into it, to become one with it. Lao Tzu says knowing, the not knowing. Knowing that life is absolutely mysterious, that there is no way to know it. That is high. That is the ultimate of experience. There is no beyond to it. Nothing more transcendental than that. One has arrived home. The moment you enter the mysterious, you have found the home. No knowledge can satisfy you unless you are merged with the unknowable. Not knowing the knowing, that is an illness. Lao Tzu calls even wisdom an illness, because you are falling from the ultimate health, ultimate well-being. not knowing the knowing. Even to say that I don't know, you have asserted something. You have said something. You have claimed some knowledge. For example, if Socrates had met Lao Tzu, Lao Tzu would have said, you are ill. Ill with wisdom. A good illness, but you are just a step below. Because Socrates' famous statement is, I know only one thing, that I know nothing. But there is a claim, I know. Although the claim is that I know nothing, but still it is a claim of knowing, a claim of knowledge. Even though it claims that life is mysterious, but the claim has come in. Even to say that God is indefinable is a kind of definition. To say that truth is inexpressible is in a certain sense giving it some expression. To say that the truth cannot be said means you have said something about it. Your very statement falsifies it. It is self-contradictory. Hence he calls it illness. It is self-contradictory. Lao Tzu was one of the most consistent men. It is rare to find a Buddha so consistent as Lao Tzu. His whole life he never wrote. All the teaching that he gave to his disciples was not a teaching at all. His whole method was via negativa. The disciple will come to him with all his knowledge and he will start dismantling his knowledge, destroying his knowledge. That was his whole and sole purpose. He will go on taking your knowledge brick by brick. A moment comes when the whole building of your knowledge collapses. Then you are left into a vacuum. That is the moment Lao Tzu will say, now you can sit by my side. Just sit in this vacuum. And of course, in a vacuum you cannot ask any question. You cannot expect any answer. If you can ask, if you can expect, it is not a true vacuum yet. A true vacuum means no answer, no question, nothing is left. All has disappeared. The very earth beneath your feet has been taken away. You are falling into a bottomless abyss. These were the people who Lao Tzu has gathered around himself. They will sit with him, they will walk with him, they will move from one village to another village. But he was not like Buddha or Mahavira, who were teaching, who were trying to convey something of the unconveyable. His whole life he was asked again and again by the kings, by the emperors, by the rich people, that please write something about your experience for the coming generations. Don't take it away with you. We know you know. Whether you say it or not, we know, because your very presence is so pregnant. It is almost tangible. We can touch it. We feel it. We become overflooded with it. We know you know. Please write something, just few words for the future generations to know that a man like Lao Tzu has been in existence. But he was very reluctant. He will simply laugh. He will not even say no. Once a disciple asks, at least just to be polite, you can say no. And Lao Tzu said, to say no means you are on the way of saying yes. If they can take out no from me, sooner or later they will take out yes too. Because yes and no are two sides of the same coin, and he is right. He is absolutely right. If somebody says no to you, that means there is hope. Yes is possible. There is a possibility. However far away it may be, but there is a possibility. The no can turn into yes, because yes can turn into no. They go on changing into each other. And you know that your no in the morning becomes yes in the evening, your yes in the evening becomes no in the morning. They are convertible. They are not so contradictory as they appear. They are joined deep down somewhere. Lao Tzu will not say even no. He will only laugh. Now what to make out of this laugh? You cannot make anything out of it. He is neither saying yes nor saying no. He is not falling from his high estate. But at the last moment, he was forced to write. This is the only document in the whole history of humanity which has been written under compulsion, which has been coerced. Because Lao Tzu wanted to go to the Himalayas. Himalayas divide China and India. In one sense they divide, in another sense they join. You can see yes and no are not very different. He wanted to go to the Himalayas. His disciples asked why. He had become very old. He must have been very old. For the simple reason, because their story is, and their story is beautiful, true or not, that is not the point. I am a lover of beauty. I don't bother whether it is true or not. Beauty is something higher than truth. Truth is logical, beauty is aesthetical. Truth is of the head, beauty is something deeper of the heart. I love the story. Lao Tzu lived in his mother's womb for 82 years. It is almost impossible. When he was born, he was already 82 years old. With a long beard, long hairs and all white. He was already an ancient man. And then at least he must have lived 80 years more. That has been the habit in the East of all the enlightened people. Buddha lived 82 years, Mahavir lived 82 years, Krishna lived 82 years, but Lao Tzu defeated all of them. He lived 82 years in the mother's womb first. Then at least, to balance things, he must have lived at 82 years outside the womb. He was a man of balance. So by the time he started thinking to find a right place to die, he must have been near about 160 years old. He asked his friends, disciples, that now give me permission. I would like to go to a far away virgin peak of the Himalayas to die. So no trace of me is left behind, not even footprints on the sands of time. I would like simply to disappear into the wildness of the Himalayas. Nobody will ever know where I died, where are my bones, where is my body, where is my grave. I want just to melt into existence. They were sad, but they knew their master, that when he says something, he means it. Reluctantly, they gave him the farewell. When he was leaving the country, the emperor of the country ordered all the boundaries and the guards on the boundaries that Lao Tzu has not to be allowed to leave the country unless he writes his experience in Sarge to be preserved for the future generations. And he was caught on the boundary, and the military guards won't allow him. Unless he writes, under such compulsion, he sat in one of the guards' home for 3 days, day in, day out. He wrote his small treatise, Tao Te King. These are the words from that treatise. And when the treatise was complete, he left. But he begins the treatise with a very strange statement. Tao cannot be said. The moment it is said, it is no more true. Now you can read whatsoever I am writing. It is no more true. It has already fallen. It has come down from its profound silence into the noisy world of words. That's what he calls illness. To say something about the ultimate is a fall. You have lost the wholeness. To be whole is to be healthy. That's exactly the word, meaning of healthy. To be whole. Nothing is missing. All parts are functioning in deep harmony, in accord, in tune with each other. It is an organic unity. To be ill means some parts are missing, non-functioning. The accord is lost. The harmony is no more there. Some trouble has arisen. The balance has been lost. That's the meaning of illness. Not knowing the knowing. So even if you say that I don't know anything except this, I know only one thing, that I know nothing, you have already fallen. You have said already something. There is a Sufi story. 4 disciples of a mystic were told by the master that it is time for you to go to the mountains and sit for silence, at least for 7 days, and then come back. They went with the vow to sit there for 7 days, absolute silence. Just after a few minutes, the first said, I wonder whether I have locked my house or not. The other said, you fool, we have come here to be silent and you have spoken. The third said, you are a greater fool than that. What is that is to do with you? If he had spoken, at least you could have kept silent. The fourth said, thank God, Only I am the only one who has not spoken yet. There is an irresistible urge to say when you experience. One wants to share it. It is uncontainable. And one can see people searching for it, and you have got it. It is like that you are standing on a crossroad, you know the right way, and people are searching for the right way. How can you remain silent? It is irresistible. But the problem is, the moment you say, this is the right road, it becomes wrong. Saying it is falsifying it. Truth is infinite and words are very finite. Hence Lao Tzu says, the best is not to say, the next best is to say. The best is to be whole. The next best is to be partially true. But remember, because truth is indivisible, you cannot be partially true. Hence his insistence that the moment you say it, it becomes false. To be partially true means to be false, because truth is indivisible. But still, he can understand the need of the person who has experienced to convey it, and the need of others who are in search of it. So he allows it. He says, the one who suffers from this illness is not ill. I am not condemning him. I am not saying that he is pathological. All that I am saying is that he is no more the total. He is now only a glimpse, a faraway glimpse. He is now only a picture of the sunset, not the sunset itself. He is now only an echo. If this can be remembered, then even the echo can be used to find the original source. Then even the picture of a sunset can be of immense help. But people are such fools, they worship the pictures of the sunset. They forget all about the sunset. In fact, if you tell them that this is not the sunset that you are worshipping, this is only a picture, they will be angry. Go and tell to the Hindus that the gods that you are worshipping in your temples are not real gods. These are only pictures, photographs. And that too not true to the original, just imaginary, metaphorical. And they will be angry. They will throw you out of their temple. Or to the Christians, or to the Mohammedans, or to the Jainas, go anywhere. They will not listen to you. Go to a Jaina temple and you will find 24 statues of their masters. And you will be surprised, they all look alike, exactly alike. Even Jainas cannot say the distinction. To know the distinction who is who, they have made small symbols underneath the statues. So they can know who is who. That this is Mahavira, and this is Parsunatha, and this is Neminatha. They can know just small symbols. Otherwise the statues are exactly the same. These statues cannot be true. They can be only at the most symbolic. Who has ever heard of 24 persons exactly alike? The same noses, the same ears. You will be puzzled. All their ears are touching their shoulders. The ear lobes, all. It may have been that one person's ear lobes may have touched. But now it has become an absolutely necessary thing for a Jaina Tirthankar that his earlobe should touch the shoulders, otherwise he is not a Tirthankara. And you can find some absolutely dumb, dull, stupid person whose earlobes are touching his shoulders, just a donkey. But that does not mean that he has become a Tirthankara, that he has become a great enlightened master. Otherwise all donkeys will become great enlightened masters. This is simply symbolic. What symbol can be there? The Jnana method of meditation is to listen. To listen so absolutely and so silently, as if you have become all ears. That is the symbol. So they have made big ears just to indicate their method of meditation. Their method of meditation is listening. Listening to the sounds of the wind passing through the pine trees. Listening to the birds. Just listening. Anything. The dog barking, or the call of a distant cuckoo. Just listening. With no judgment, no evaluation. Jainas call that if a person can listen totally without any interference of the mind, he can become enlightened just by listening. Nothing else is needed. To show this, to make it represented in the statue, they have made big ears. But people are worshipping the statues. They are not trying to find out where is the sunset. They have forgotten all about the sunset. It is like you have seen the sunset through the window, you have forgotten about the sunset, and you are worshipping the frame of the window. Hence Lao Tzu says the best is not to say anything about the truth, about your experience. Then what a master is supposed to do? He can say how he achieved. He can say what are the pitfalls to be avoided. He can help you to refine your methods. He can put you again and again from going astray, back on the right path. He can tell you about all the means that lead to the end, but about the end he should remain absolutely silent. That's what I am doing to you. About the end I am absolutely silent. What I am talking about is the method, the meditation, the prayer. These are all the ways. When you have arrived, only then you will know what it is. It cannot be said. The moment you say it, something goes ill, something goes wrong, something goes sour. But still he feels that sometimes out of compassion for those who are still lost in darkness, the masters have spoken. Hence he says the one who suffers from this illness is not ill. He himself is not ill. But what he says is ill. He himself is whole. But his statement cannot be whole. The wise is not ill because he suffers from this illness. That is why he is not ill. A strange statement. The wise is not ill because he suffers from this illness. That's why he is not ill. This illness is worth suffering because it is the closest point to the perfect health. It is a great blessing. Hence, don't be misguided by the word ill. It is illness if you compare to the highest. But if you look at the back journey, it is not illness. And if it comes out of compassion, and it comes out of compassion. The story about Buddha is, when he became enlightened, for 7 days he remained silent. He remained in that ultimate wholeness, health, and he was not willing to come down from there. It has happened to everybody. Hence the story of the Buddha is very representative. The story says, but the gods in heaven became very much disturbed, because it is such a rare phenomenon, somebody becoming enlightened. And Buddha was hesitating to say anything about it. He was deciding, coming closer and closer to the decision, that it is better to remain silent. Before he comes to a decision, the gods rushed from heaven, fell unto his feet, and said, wait, don't decide, because once you have decided, then nothing can be done. Just listen to us before you come to a decision. It is rare that a man becomes enlightened, and there are millions who would like your advice, your help. Don't be so harsh. And you have suffered yourself. Don't you feel anything for the suffering humanity? Tell them how you arrived. Buddha said to them that I have pondered over all pros and cons. I have thought about all these things. My own reasoning is that whatsoever I say will not be the same as I have experienced. And that is betraying the truth. Secondly, I am ready to betray, because I am not going to lose anything by betraying it. But the moment I say something, people will understand something else, which is not told at all. The first loss happens when I say, I come down from my silence. And the second loss, which is far greater, happens when people hear it, because they start coloring it according to their ideas, according to their mind. And the third loss happens, and the greatest, when they start telling it to other people. And then it goes on falling. Soon, the flower of the sky falls into the mud of the earth and is lost, trampled by people. So what is the point? I have also thought of their suffering. But then too, my reasoning is, those who can understand me will be able to find it by themselves. If they are so capable to understand me, it won't take them for long to find it on their own. So why bother? Those who can understand me will find it sooner or later. It is only a question of time. And time does not matter as far as eternity is concerned. And those who cannot understand me, telling them is not right. They will misunderstand. The gods were at a loss. They could not find how to persuade this man. They asked some time so they can go in privacy, discuss the matter amongst themselves, find out a way. Just one chance they wanted to be given to them. They went in seclusion, meditated, talked, discussed, and finally they came with a solution. A really very beautiful solution they brought. They said, we agree with you that out of 100 persons, there may be one person who may attain it by himself sooner or later, just as you have attained. And we agree that out of 100, at least 98% people will misunderstand you. But they don't matter. They are already in misunderstanding. What more misunderstanding there can be? So you will not be harming them. So two things are certain. You will not be helping the 1% who is going to attain it by himself, and you will not be harming the 98% who are in any way confused and will remain confused whether you say or not. But what about the remaining 1%, the boundary case, who is neither here nor there, who does not belong to the 98% and who does not belong to the 1% either, who is just in the middle of both? If you say something, he may be helped. If you don't say something, he may not be helped at all for centuries to come. Can't you feel any compassion for that 1%? And Buddha has to agree to them that 1% is certainly has to be thought about. I will speak for that 1%. In fact, all the masters have been speaking for that 1%. They have been taking this risk of coming down from their sunlit peaks into the dark valleys of humanity for that 1%. The message of the enlightened people can never be for the masses, has never been for the masses. The masses are always against. It can only be for very few people. But even those very few people are enough to give life, beauty, grandeur, splendor. They are the salt of the earth. The second question: why is it so difficult to recognize you? It is a simple phenomenon. You can recognize only that which comes within your experience. How can you recognize something which you have not experienced? And what I am saying to you and what I am being to you is something utterly unknown to you. Not only unknown, much of it is unknowable too. Recognition needs that some experience within you coincides with my experience. Those who are falling in tune with me, they are recognizing me, and only they can recognize. It is not for all. It is only for the disciples to have a glimpse of recognition, and it is only for the devotees to be absolutely certain of the recognition. But many of you have come here only as students, searching for more knowledge, and I am imparting being, not knowledge. You have come with greed in your heart. Many types of greeds are there. Just the other day I received a letter from a very rich Marwadi from Odisha. He has never written me before. This is for the first time that he writes, Bhagwan, I recognize you as the greatest incarnation of God. This is the time for you to prove whether you are really a god or not. Because we, Marwaris are the Jews of India, are in very great difficulty in Odisha. In Odisha, Marwadis are being thrown out. They have exploited the poor people so long that it has come to a point of climax. Now suddenly he remembers me. I have never heard of the man. He has never written to me. Now he writes that this is the time for you to prove. We will worship you forever if you can save us from the anger of the masses. They are being burnt, killed, looted. Naturally, he can recognize me, but this is not recognition. This is greed. It is fear. Another letter, just one day before, from Delhi, a young man writes that I am rich enough, but I don't see any meaning in life. I am so afraid of committing suicide that I am staying in a hospital permanently, because I am afraid that if I am not looked after by doctors and nurses continuously, I may kill myself any moment. If you promise me to save me, then I am ready to come to you. I am ready even to become a sannyasi. Now such a conditional sannyas is not possible. Many people come to me. They may not say exactly why they have come, but there are deep motives. Then it will be very difficult for you to recognize, because I am not here to fulfill any of your greed, to fulfill any of your desires, to fulfill any of your expectation. I can share my bliss, I can share my truth, I can share my being. But very few people are longing for all those things. Their longings are of very ordinary nature, almost animalistic. While fishing one day, said the old angler, I ran short of bait and did not know what to do. I looked around, and there at my feet I noticed a snake which held a frog in his mouth. I removed the frog and cut it up for the bait, feeling much elated that I had seen the snake at that moment. I did, however, feel somewhat guilty at stealing the poor reptile's meal. So to repay him slightly for my supply of bait, I poured a few drops of whiskey into his mouth. My conscience was relieved when I saw the snake crawl away in a contented mood, and I went back to my fishing. Some time had passed when I felt something hitting against the leg of my foot. Imagine my surprise when, looking down, I saw the same snake carrying 3 more frogs in his mouth. You ask me, why is it so difficult to recognize you? You come with a greedy heart, and then it is difficult to recognize me. You come to see something according to your own ideas, and I don't exist according to anybody's ideas. I am simply just being myself. Hindus come to look for a Krishna. I am not. Jainas come to look for a Mahavira. I am not. Christians come to look for a Christ. I am not. If you have come here to look for somebody else in me, you will not be able to recognize me, because I am simply myself. I have no obligation to be a Christ or a Buddha or a Laos. If Christ is free to be himself, he need not be me. Why should I be him? There is no need. Such expectations create a barrier. An elephant is walking through a forest and spies a naked man. He looks at him bewildered and asks, "Tell me, how do you breathe through that short thing?" Just expectations. The elephant has his own ideas. A Rajneesh sannyasin was sitting by a cliff, sobbing uncontrollably. A passerby stopped and asked what the matter was. A bus load of politicians just plunged over this cliff to a certain death, sobbed the Swami. That certainly is a catastrophe, sympathized the stranger. But I did not think you Rajneesh sannyasins had much love for politicians. That's true, said the Swami as he doubled up with a fresh wave of grief. The fact is, 5 of the seats were empty. You will have to drop your old ideas if you want to recognize me. My whole approach towards life is different from anybody who has preceded me. It has to be so. Krishna lived on this earth 5,000 years before. Buddha 25 centuries before. Jesus 20 centuries before. Muhammad 14 centuries before. Kabir, Nanak 5 centuries before. Since then, so much water has gone down the Ganges. Man has changed. The whole life pattern has changed. I am living in 20th century. I cannot adjust myself with anybody 5,000 years old. That is impossible. That will be crippling myself, paralyzing myself, poisoning myself. I have to be now here. But you are all conditioned. Although your conditioning has not given you any joy, it has not given you any ecstatic lifestyle, but still, people cling to the familiar. At a bar, a disheartened drinker complained to the man next to him that he had gone to the tracks a whole month without a winner. "Why don't you quit betting?" advised the other. "What?" snapped the gambler, "and give up 20 years experience in horse betting." 20 years experience. How can anybody give up so easily? And your experience of religion is 5,000 years old or even longer. How can you give it up? But unless you give it up, you cannot see me. Your eyes will remain covered. That's why you see very few old people around me. Even the people who are old and around me are in some way not old, very young and fresh. Sefali, one of my sannyasins, who is nearing 70, writes me again and again that I am very much puzzled. I feel myself so young and nobody believes me. Just the other day she wrote, Bhagwan, not even your sannyasins. They try to help me, thinking that I am an old woman. They are very good, but it hurts me because I am young. I don't feel old age at all. The body has become old, but they don't see me. And I am not the body. And she is right. Back in Europe, she was creating much confusion amongst people because she started playing with small children. Her family, friends, they said, what are you doing? A 70-year-old woman playing with small children, laughing, giggling, dancing. It does not look right. But she said, but I feel so young. I feel just like a child. And her experience is right. Her feeling is coming from within her being. So even the people who are old around me are not old in the ordinary sense. They are all young people. And actually also, only young people have come to me. This has always been so. The 12 apostles of Jesus were all young people. Younger than himself. The people who have surrounded Gautam Buddha were all young people. The people who lived with Lao Tzu were very young people. It has always been so for the simple reason, because the old mind has so many conditionings that unless those conditionings are fulfilled, he cannot see. And only somebody who is a fraud is going to fulfill your conditions. No original man is going to fulfill your conditions. Because no original man has any desire for all the respectability that you can give to him. He is so blissful. What he needs your respectability for? Respectability is a substitute. Only miserable people are hankering for respectability. The blissful people have never cared a bit about your respectability. I am perfectly happy, famous, notorious, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference to me. So I am not going to fulfill any of your expectations. You must be carrying expectations somewhere. A Jewish father and his son go together to a Turkish bath. Yeah, your feet are so dirty, says the father. But father, your feet are much dirtier. How can you compare? Says the angry father. I am 30 years older than you. The old mind always goes on bragging as if oldness is something very valuable. Oldness simply means you have been accumulating junk. A really alive person is always young. To the very moment of death, he is young. For example, I know Sefali. Whenever she will die young and fresh as the freshly opened rosebud. I have given her the name Cephali. Cephali is the name of a beautiful flower. She will die like fresh dewdrops in the early morning sun. My people have to live freshly and die freshly. They have to remain continuously young. The only way to remain young is go on dying to the past, go on discarding the old, go on dropping all your accumulated knowledge. So you are always in a state of not knowing, and that is the highest according to Laos and according to me also, remaining in a state of not knowing. Not knowing even that I know nothing. That's the highest, the most beautiful space one can ever be. And only then you can recognize me. Otherwise there is no way to recognize me. Meditate, become silent, so that you can feel some meeting, merging with me, so that you can taste something of the joy that I have brought to you. It is a pure gift. All that is needed on your part is a little receptivity. The last question. What is the connection between laughter and sex? There is certainly a connection. The connection is simple. The sexual orgasm and laughter happen in the same way. Their process is similar. In a sexual orgasm, you go on reaching a climax of tension. You are coming closer and closer to burst forth. And then at the peak, suddenly, the orgasmic release happens. After such a mounting tension, everything suddenly relaxes. The contrast between the mounting tension and the relaxation is so vast that you feel as if you have fallen in a calm, quiet ocean. A deep relaxation, a deep let go. That's why nobody has ever been known to have died by heart attack while making love. This is strange, because love making is a arduous exercise. It is great yoga. But nobody has ever died, for the simple reason that it brings such relaxation. In fact, cardiologists, heart specialists have now started recommending sex as medicinal to the people who are suffering from some heart trouble. Sex can be of immense help for them. It relaxes tensions. And when tensions are gone, your heart functions more naturally. The same is the process of laughter. It also builds up a tension in you. a certain story, and you go on expecting something is going to happen, something is going to happen, and then something really happens. But the happening is so unexpected that it releases the tension. The happening is not logical. That is the most important thing about laughter to understand. The happening has to be ridiculous. It has to be absurd. If you can logically conclude it, then there will be no laughter. While you are listening to a joke, if you can logically conclude what is going to happen, and if it actually happens the way you concluded, then there will be no laughter. Because there will be no build-up tension in the first place, and secondly, there will be no sudden change. These two things are needed. A building up of tension, so you become more and more narrowed, more and more tense, and then suddenly an unexpected turn, the punchline. It triggers a new process. The whole logic falls flat. All jokes are illogical. And because they are illogical, they bring great laughter to you. In one other sense also, sex and laughter are joined together deep in the mind. Your sex organs are only the outermost part of your sexuality. The sex is not really there. The sex is somewhere in the brain centers. So sooner or later, man is going to get rid of this old style sexuality. It is really ridiculous. That's why people make love in dark, in night, under blankets. It is such an absurd activity that if you're watching yourself making love, you will never think of it again. So people hide. They close their doors, they lock their doors. Particularly they are very much afraid of children, because they will see the absurdity immediately. Then what are you doing? Daddy, what are you doing? Have you gone crazy? And it looks crazy. It is like an epileptic fit. Sooner or later it is going to be changed, because now science has found the real center is in the brain, not in the sex organs. So now a small electrode can be fitted in the head, and you will not know about it. Because inside the skull there is no sensitivity at all. Anything can be put there. Even if a small rock is put there, you will not know. In fact, that's how many people are, carrying rocks inside, not knowing. So if a small electrode is put inside your brain, just inserted inside your brain, close to the sex center, with a remote controller. You can keep the remote controller in your pocket. So whenever you feel like having an orgasm, you just push the controller, just a little push on the button, and it triggers the sex center in the brain, and you will have an orgasm anywhere. Then you can discard this wife-husband relationship and all this nonsense. It will be a great freedom. In fact, humanity will be liberated only because all the Buddhas have failed. They could not liberate you from sex. Now Delgado is the new name of the person who is going to free you from all sexuality. He has freed many white rats. Sometimes I wonder why they never try on black rats. Maybe thinking they are Indians and they may not like the idea and they are religious people, something like this, spiritual. They always try on white rats. But you will be surprised to know, and it is better to remember it, because whenever he tried on white rats, a very strange thing happened. That's what it prevented him from making it a device available in the market to anybody who wants to purchase it. The thing that prevented was that when he fixed the electrode in the head of the white rat and showed him the remote controller, just pushed the controller in front of him and he went through the beautiful spasm, a total orgasmic joy. And then he watched. The rat looked all around. Seeing that nobody is looking at, he pushed the button, went through it. You will be surprised. In 1 hour, 6,000 times he pushed the button till he died. Forgot all about food, forgot all about everything. Even beautiful damsels were passing by. He didn't care at all. All those beautiful girls after whom he was going crazy, there was no need now, because no woman can give a man such a total orgasm, and no man can give a woman such a total orgasm, because the sexual organs are far away from the center. By the time the message reaches to the center, it is already very, very diluted. Hence, 97% women never achieve orgasmic joy. And that is the Western aesthetics, 97% in America. What to say about India? I have never come across a single woman who has said that she achieves orgasmic joy. She cannot achieve. The culture does not allow. She has to lie down almost dead. She simply suffers the whole foolishness of the man. And deep down she thinks that this man is a sinner, dragging him into hell. She is not interested at all, because she knows nothing about the orgasmic joy. And her orgasmic joy is far more profound than men's. Her whole body is erotic. Man's whole body is not erotic. He is only partially erotic, locally erotic. These centers of sex and laughter are very close in the brain. So sometimes they can overlap. So when you are making love, if you really allow it, the woman will start giggling. It tickles, because the center is very close. She may not giggle just out of politeness, because the man may feel offended. But the centers are very close by. And sometimes when you are really in a deep laughter, you may have the same orgasmic joy as you have in sex. It is not a coincidence that many beautiful jokes are bound to be sexual. The centers are so close, what can I do? The wealthy woman woke up and looked about her bedroom, then rang for her Chinese houseboy, fooling. She asked him how she got home the night before, and he said, I bring Missy home. Then she asked him how she got undressed. Fooling said, I undressed Missy. She asked then how she got into bed, and he said, I put Missy to bed. Whereupon she said, God, I must have been tight. Fooling replied, first time, yes, Missy. Second time, no. Markovsky, the agent, called his friend Lissiski, the producer of striptease shows. Lissiski, he shouted, I have got a girl for you that is gonna make a fortune for both of us. She is incredible. Got a pair of lungs that will knock your eyes out. Listen to these statistics. Hips 40 inches, waist 27 inches, chest 99 inches. Incredible, said Lissiski. What kind of act does she do? Act? What act? She just crawls out and tries to stand up. The newlyweds arrived at their honeymoon hotel. The excited groom, quite pleased with his reputation as a lover and eager to thrill his bride with his expertise, quickly threw her upon the bed and performed with the skill of a champion sexual athlete. When it was over, he whispered to his bride, Ah, yes, my dear, I could tell how pleased you were. I noticed your toes curling up in ecstasy. I promise I will always bring you such joy. She whispered in reply, perhaps next time, Romeo, you could remove my pantyhose first. Enough for today.